Just let it go. I remember I was driving with a friend who I hadn't seen for a while, and he was telling me about this new girl he was seeing. I don't like when she wears this. I don't like one of her friends. She should be acting differently. These were some of the things I heard about this girl, but during all this conversation, I couldn't help to think why he felt this way, and why there seemed to be such a disconnect between them. He also explained that she felt distant, less interested the more time went on, and that he wasn't sure how to handle the situation. Almost like he was advocating for a version of the relationship that he wanted, but the more he advocated for this, the further away they felt from each other. And throughout all this conversation, what I really heard underneath the surface was, I'm worried that she'd lose attraction, I'm worried I'll lose her. I don't feel secure in this. And this isn't just from men to women. This happens to all kinds of people. But instead of dealing with this insecurity internally, in this case scenario, my friend would try to reshape the relationship and his partner to his liking. This isn't just about romantic love, but especially for men out there, it seems we have an impulse to control things. And it can manifest in a positive way, that is the form of protection and control over your own emotions, behaviors, goals, intentions. But this impulse can definitely quickly turn vile when it comes to certain relationships and deter genuine love away. Control that stems from insecurity or fear can turn into an obsessive monitoring of others, like a kind of paranoia, and ultimately, once again, stems from a perceived or just a negative future outcome, or an insecurity. I've seen this pattern across many relationships, and you will likely experience this feeling, this need to control another person's actions for the sake of a good relationship. Maybe you saw what that looks like on TikTok or in the media, or you want to protect your own image, how your friends think about your relationship. So it's important to understand what this looks like, and that is what controlling behavior that stems from insecurity looks like, and why it works against relationships rather than for. So, just like the example with my friend, from what I've seen, if someone fears that a relationship might end, or they're insecure about the way things are going, they double down on the control, try to change things out of insecurity just to avoid breaking up or losing someone. But it's a negative feedback loop which inevitably leads to the end of the relationship. This feedback loop essentially goes by somebody feels insecure. They're reacting to threats that really aren't there, like their partner cheating on them, or something devastating that they believe they should be in control of. And so, the insecurity turns into control in the form of, comments, restrictions, expectations. Don't do this, don't go there, don't wear that, and expecting your partner to appeal to this imaginary threat that you have fed for so long. But the thing is, this control makes the other partner feel constrained, and they become distant. And the distance then confirms the initial insecurity of the other partner, and confirms his or her fear, which then increases control further. So you can see that this is a loop, right? Which will eventually just push two people away from each other. The more you push for something like this, especially in a romantic context, the worse things will get. You'll start to deny the reality at hand or the person at hand and create a separate one in which all of your insecure needs are met. It becomes completely and utterly selfish. So where does this behavior come from though? Well, nowadays, often because of the immense pressure for people to be successful in their careers and to dominate in a field and to be great, to be extremely ambitious. We're wired to solve problems through control, right? In your career, in your discipline, in sort of self-mastery, right? This might work towards the self, and it might show great fruit in your career. You might get a great position. You might be getting up every day at an early time and sticking to your meditation or your cold showers or whatever habit it is that you wanted to do. But relationships are a little bit different, and because our behavior and our mentality follows us everywhere we go, when you're trying to apply this framework of control into a romantic relationship or a good friendship, let's say, you end up trying to optimize things, maybe another person for what your own version of reality says. We're taught to deal with uncertainty by just reducing it, conquering it, getting rid of it. And this way of going about your business life or your life outside of relationships can leak into your romantic relationships in the form of correcting behavior and having a fixing mentality. Telling others how they should act, trying to improve a relationship through control. And you treat a relationship like a problem to solve, not something to experience. Point is that this controlling behavior, although it might be a necessary byproduct of the time that we are in for our career success and our personal or self-success, when trying to connect with somebody, it just does not work. And especially when it's taken to its extreme form, it can become stalking or violent actions just because of this initial insecurity. So whatever love may be, this behavior is directly against it. I like to think of this dynamic like a rope that connects two people, and both of them are holding their respective ends. A loving connection has the right amount of tension. The rope flows as the people move, and because the rope is not threatening in any way, the people get closer to each other. But obsessive or controlling behaviors takes this rope and tugs on it too hard on one end, creating friction, too much tension, and burning the hand of the other partner holding their end. And of course, when something burns you while you're holding it, you let it go, because holding on to a relationship dominated by control and perceived fears is damaging to everyone. So, although control is not something to completely dismiss, as in a healthy relationship there are boundaries and certain expectations, love only works when those boundaries are chosen and respected freely, not forced into place out of fear. You don't keep someone by controlling them, you keep them by being someone they freely choose to stay connected to. So yeah, let go of the fear and insecurity that's holding you back from connecting with somebody, and realize that love exists in a much freer environment than the one you might initially think. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you again for all the support, and I hope to see you in the future. I wish you all the best.